So today is December 5th, and ironically leaving an appointment there for about an hour to two, coming out, tons of X5 BMW SUVs together, Lexuses in pairs together, Audis, a black and white one together, and then a whole bunch spread around the lot, all like usual, the patterns changing. For example, when I got there, everything was fairly normal within that lot except two backwards cars, but the surrounding lots, of course, 40% of the lots cars are backwards, showing that there is a communication to mass groups, because human behavior does not all change at once like that. That can only happen based on people being notified to all behave the same or differently all at once. Anyways, like usual, I have video of the lot close to normal when I get there, and changing as I'm there, or with people told to show up, follow me there, to send me these hidden schizo messages to try to create mental illness to remove me from society. Anyways, okay, so today, first I wanted to talk about, I wanted to amend some of the statements to the docket, which I ordered, and the things going on with the docket, and my lawyer and the clerks, and I can't remember exactly what I said the other day, so whatever. And then I think after that I probably want to talk about, I know I've been talking about up until 16 years old so far, and trust me, I have tons and tons more, and it just progressively gets worse the older I get, to remove me from society, but for whatever reason I can't comprehend, because it doesn't make any sense. But what I want to, what I want to do is I want to skip probably to University of Colorado, and an incident that happened right after I moved to Colorado, moving in to my dorm, or not in a dorm, to an apartment I rented on Arapahoe, showing that even moving from Oregon to Colorado, I was still being hunted immediately, and how that links to now to kind of my family, what I believe to be my family's tactic of trying to migrate me up to Canada, possibly with some warped vision of my mother's, that she can torture and terrorize me to be on the run, to move up with her, just like they did to me with Noah Schiller at University of Colorado. By when I moved in, they basically figured out a way to run me out of my apartment, and then coincidentally my family, my mother had her friend Deborah Schiller, which had a son Noah Schiller, and coincidentally, when this guy forced me out of my place by squatting, basically he paid a small down payment with a sublet agreement, and then basically didn't pay any other rent, and basically moved into my room and all these things to migrate me, create the situation with the police to migrate me out of the place. And my mother just coincidentally had Deborah Schiller's son just happened to be going to University of Colorado and needed a roommate. Gee, how coincidental and convenient, right? And things were done to me with him, and all these setup and frame job operations with women, but hence the same exact pattern of behavior, which seems to be happening now to even a more aggressive degree, by basically trying to lock me away in jail cells and mental institutions, with my mother at 29 saying my past caught up with me and I need to leave the country, which doesn't make any sense. Almost like a thug scare tactic, like I don't know what's going on, but here the police are following me around with people stalking me worldwide until I actually leave the country for no reason. Maybe she wants me to go up to Canada because she feels lonely, that her husband maybe is getting old and she'll be alone or something. I don't know. I can't tell you, right? But it's the same exact pattern of behavior, but since these patterns jump from thing to thing, it's never just one thing. It just keeps going from thing to thing. But anyways, so it's probably just a terror tactic until they get what they want, to remove me from society. But I'll start with the docket. So I looked at the docket, and as I explained in the last video, on the docket it says no date has been filed, or it said appeals, no one showed up for appeals, and then it said, appeals dated past on the docket. But then on the finally, after like 6 months of my attorney, Seymour, has this appeals been filed? What's the appeals number? This and that. He refused to give it to me over and over and over. Finally, he gives me the appeals number yesterday after getting the docket. And it was filed, and appeals was filed on 5/23/2018, although ironically there's a whole story behind the 23 and the number 23 and the movie number 23, things they're putting in movies. I might have explained it in my last segment, I'm not sure, hence why it was filed on that date, because the police don't like me knowing the types of things that they're doing, and they want to try to make me look crazy if I talk about it, and also as cover-up operations, get those he's crazy labels and lock me away and incarcerate me for life, in which I was told is blatantly obvious. It was filed, but he didn't want to give it to me. Now, I looked at his dates, or I should say his brief that he's supposed to file, and for some reason there's several extensions. There's like 3 or 4 extensions, right? So, showing that he seems to be prolonging the process. Why? That is a good question, because I've already been convicted on these setup and frame job operations, so it really doesn't get any worse. Although remember, we're talking about an attorney that intentionally lost the case to begin with because he doesn't want to stand up to the pure pressure of his so-called friends in the judicial system, and sacrificing lives is more important, or having friends to him is more important than the right thing, right? I mean, that, or he believes the lies that he's been told about me, and therefore wants me dead and gone. Either way, it's completely unethical, because the job of a defense attorney, according to the Bar Association, is to do within your means what it takes to defend your client so that he gets a fair trial, but he didn't seem to believe in anything like that. I mean, how does one make someone lose a case and stall on appeals is beyond me. Needless to say, as I explained, I got the docket the other day, and at the end of the docket, I explained it said Kevin wants to show up in court under his own, whatever, I can't remember the exact words, under my own defendant request to show up in court for something, right? Not the lawyer, the defendant, trying to make it look like I'm trying to represent myself. So I pulled up paperwork with the psychology, Psychology Today, and it specifically states, that one of the ways that a judge can check someone into psychiatric, like a mental institution, is if someone tries to represent themselves in court, denying counsel, right? So, for example, if you're arrested, you are either given a defense attorney, or you hire your own, but the government must provide a defense attorney, right? Now, if you don't go get your own lawyer, or you don't take that defense attorney, the judge can say, well, like, you're crazy, or you're not fit, because that's damaging to yourself. Like, that's harmful to yourself or others, right? So, hence, the reasoning the clerks put this in there, or, who told them to? Well, I can't tell you that, but what I can tell you is that obviously one of the clerks went and put that in, being told to, or did it on their own. It's hard to say. Whether, it doesn't matter, it's beyond any level of illegal known to man, but that was put in there, and so obviously the reasoning is to try to make me look crazy like usual, to check me into a mental institution or lock me away in jail, which I'm glad I caught and is up on the front of my website. So if anything does happen to me, it's at least up there to show of what is actually going on and being done to my life, right? So let me think as far as the docket. Oh, that's right. The other thing is there's a whole new case number in there. Now, I looked up the case number on the computer. Nothing's in there, but that could change. And I was told that the case is going to a different judge, which is probably a good thing, because Judge Eric Harmon has some weird philosophy on life, that one person destroys life for 99% of communities in the world, which doesn't make any sense. One person does not destroy life for everyone, but everyone sure as hell can get together and mob one person like it's being done to me, right? Some weird psychotic bullying personality with what's the word I'm looking for? When you expect everything to go your way or be done for you or something. Entitlement. Like some entitlement personality, example, a community. A community might feel entitled that they don't like this one guy, so that guy should disappear and die or something, right? And what builds a character like that? Well, that's the spoiled brat character, right? Oh, I like my area, and that guy there starving in the streets, just put a bullet in his head because he's ruining it for us, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? They want their perfect world, and they're rich and comfortable and have no worries in the world. But this guy who has nothing, who's struggling from day to day with stomach pains, wondering where his next meal is going to come from, is ruining it for 99% of the community. Although Eric's big thing is he kind of uses the example of gang members, but it's the same philosophy. one person can't ruin it for 99% of the community. So what you're saying is, I'm not really focused on crime or right and wrong, or individuality. I'm focused on some kind of agenda for the fat cats, or the people with money, or the people that want a perfect life, going after the people that have enough to deal with, right? That's my point. If this does turn into another case, I don't know what it possibly could be, because the only interactions I've had with the police is a lady, and this was a while ago, but you never know, because they try to rid me of the world no matter what it takes, but a lady who didn't want me handing out cards, and I asked her if she wanted a card. She said yes, and played this game like a lot of them do. Well, what's this about? And then you explain it, even though they already know what it's about. Hold on a second, I'm going to fix the lighting. Okay, there we go. Much better. So, obviously they know what it's about when I start explaining the situation with the illegal police operations, those involved, the setups, the frame jobs, the endless threats to me. She gets mad, wanting to protect the corrupt police and what they did to my life, trying to force my card on me, screaming at me, throwing her body up against mine, and you name it. And so, right, and then of course it's I hit her, I did this. The same thing that's been done to me since 5 years old. And of course, reporting that to the police, but we all know that the police, on every turn my entire life, have turned everything around on me with this agenda since 5 years old to remove me from society. So I can't tell you if they just threw that case number in there to spook me, which doesn't pull anything up right now, or maybe, remember, their whole thing is to try to establish that Kevin is violent and continually violent, to get rid of me, because that's the only way they can do it, right? That's why people provoke me all day and night, because they want these reactions, to say, look, this guy's a crazy man, and he just goes out and attacks people over and over, right? Of course, they haven't yet got me to attack anyone in 46 years, but obviously that's not the way the police and government are going to state it, because they have an agenda, and me talking is not acceptable to them, even though I have the First Amendment, which states that I can talk to people for any reason, right? These people even have problems with me going to therapists and telling them. So anyways, which are supposed to be confidential conversations. So anyways, you know, or they might just throw up some weird random charges from nowhere. Who knows? Or it's just a scare tactic. I have no clue. But if that happens, that's going to have to go to trial as well. Obviously, they probably want to pile on as much false and bunk convictions as possible to try to just thug, terrorize, torture, intimidate me quiet, and if they can't get that, lock me away in jail cells, mental institutions, or try to do what they've always done, get me to kill myself, or just something really bad happen to rid me of the world. And I think that is it. So my point was, while an appeals was filed on 5/23, Seymour seems to be stalling for some reason and doesn't really want to talk to me about that, which is strange. Okay, so now I want to talk about University of Colorado, about 1992, where they really started to get aggressive. I moved away from Southern Oregon State College. I haven't really talked much about them sending Kelly Hatch from Calabasas High to follow me to University of Colorado in these operations, because I wanted to progressively and sequentially or linearly work my way from early childhood till present, but that is a lot of details. I mean, that could be a lot of talking, so I kind of wanted to slip a few of the newer things in, which is still pretty old. I mean, that's still 25 years ago or something. As things get progressively worse, or exponentially worse for me, and for you to understand the types of things they're doing, that they were doing in college, that they're still doing, but how they turn these things around and their motives. So after I transferred from Southern Oregon State College to University of Colorado, because Southern Oregon State College was in Ashland, Oregon, a small town of 5,000, a college maybe of 1,000, and it wasn't a bad school, I'm not going to say that, but I wanted something bigger, something more meaningful, something more solid. And University of Colorado on a resume sounds much better than Southern Oregon State College. Just as a lot of locals here, they go to Pierce College, which is what do you call it? Like a small city college, and then they transfer to like UCLA, right? It's a stepping stone, whatever. I did the same thing from Southern Oregon State to University of Colorado, although the first thing they did to me was say I'm either schizo or stalking my brother, because my brother had graduated from University of Colorado Boulder, right? And this is the types of things they do. They leave out all normality or common sense and take the information, turn it into complete fiction, and give it out to the entire planet to use against me. So my brother would have you believe with them that I'm following him, I'm stalking him, I'm a private investigator for going to the same school as him. How dare I? Well, you know, that doesn't make much sense unless you're a paranoid psychotic or something, because people generally go with what they know, and what I knew was colleges that I had visited to see my brother, and I didn't really have the time to nitpick perfection of colleges, transferring from Southern Oregon State to Boulder, right? I was just busy with school, and that just seemed like a good option, and it was a really cool school when I visited it. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I transfer up. This was we were on the quarter system. Wait, is it the quarter, or I think that's what it's called, like the quarter system on in Oregon, and the semester system in University of Colorado. I think I mentioned in one of these segments about the Spanish class where in order to transfer I needed 3 years of Spanish instead of 2 years of Spanish, and so that sort of threw in some difficulties. What else? But anyways, that was it. So anyways, I moved there. I think the first house I moved in, I moved to Colorado. I found a place on Arapahoe, Broadway and Arapahoe. My memory back is pretty shaky from back then and remembering Boulder, but Arapahoe, and ironically I have a feeling they were working some angles with the name Arapahoe, but anyways, I move in with some roommates. Eric Feely was one, and Matt something, I don't know his last name. Now I move in and have no problem with them, like usual. You know, I'm a friendly person. They seem to think I was a little weird, because I remember at one point, Matt didn't like me listening to Camper Van Beethoven, which isn't the only thing I listen to, but he made some joking statement, sarcastic statement that is no big deal and is perfectly normal when it comes to human behavior. People joking around with you like, you know, what the fuck are you listening to? What is that shit? Right? Whatever. No big deal. Woo. And that's it. I had no problem with them. But at one point, and I remember hanging out with them, friends, a few times, but I wasn't super close with them. I was a little more distant, a little to myself, but, you know, not cut off, right? Nothing that should offend anyone, right? Like if I'm not kissing your ass, you should not get offended, or you shouldn't get offended. You should just go out and live your life. But this wasn't about some roommates that got offended, obviously, because of me not totally being into them, because that's what you call a stalker, right? Like, I don't owe you my life. If you don't like me, don't talk to me, and that's it, right? Stay away from me if you don't like me. It's that simple. So whatever. I mean, I never really thought anything about it. I never had any problems with Matt and Eric. But what they did is they seem to have been approached by the government, like everyone is, and with the psychology community. And I can remember a little background on Matt. I can't remember very well. I remember, I think Eric Feely was more of the frat, associated with the frats, and was always kind of, you know, like doing the speed and shit, or whatever, speed, the Valium, the acid, with that little frat group. And Matt was more of the stoner, like he's just constantly stoned, right? Now, I hold nothing to them, and once in a while I partook in some weed and shrooms or whatever, no big deal. They were a little more avid on the substances, whatever, to each their own. But that was that, right? And went out with them a few times, hung out. I don't think it took long before Eric Feely and Matt were contacted and told to figure out how to remove me from society, working with all these people. And the one big setup I can remember, or frame job I can remember, is oh, and the other thing is, I want to say that, remember, my family are like overprotective crazies, so probably my mother sees me around some guy smoking weed, and it's the end-all be-all of crimes, because I'll give you an example. One girl they had spying on me on IRC named Christina Stalinsky, around 97, I told her I smoked some weed, and I told her this once, right? And from me saying I smoked some weed to Christina Stalinsky, went to I'm addicted, or not speed, sorry, marijuana. I smoked some marijuana, telling a girl in IRC I smoked marijuana once, which everyone does in college, let me tell you. Went to, he's a drug addict and he needs help, right? Okay, well, how does that happen, right? Think about the dynamics, okay? You have a friend, right? And you tell them you smoke some weed, and The government and your family and mass groups are trying to lock you away, put you in mental institutions for substance abuse, for smoking weed a few times. Okay? How does it go? Like everything else from polar opposite spectrums, right? And so that applies to every aspect of my family's life, on every level. You farted, you tried to kill someone. You smiled imperfectly, you threatened someone's life. You looked at someone because you thought they were cute, you threatened their life and are trying to kill them, and you're a serial killer. All of these are the same kind of templated black and white psychotic behaviors that they have, right? There's absolutely no middle ground whatsoever, and everything in life is either this way or that way, and you're either a good or bad person, and once you fart wrong, you're a bad person, and once you're the bad person, you need to get thrown in the electric chair, right? Okay, so, so finally at one point, and I can't tell you why they did this, because I can't tell you why they're doing any of this, which starts at 5 years old, to remove me from society. Maybe my family gets jollies watching them hook electrodes to people's heads and zap them to death. I mean, I don't know. We're talking about a father that put shock collar on his dog Rhoda. He probably got his jollies out of it. Who knows? Okay, so Eric Feely, and then they're calling me the bad seed. That's ironic. Okay, so Eric Feely decides, I think for the summer or something, that he is going to sublet his room to this guy. And this guy, he's not a student. He's like this stoner hippie with no money. And he had long curly hair. Long curly hair, and he looked like the dude in well, he didn't look like, but the hair itself looked like the dude in Coming to America with Eddie Murphy with the hair activator. It was like this greasy, he was white, Grateful Dead looking white with this hippie curly hair that looked like it had an activator and it was all greasy. And the funny part about it, even though he was squatting and loitering, like something out of the movie Pacific Heights, like he signs a contract and then gets rid of me and everyone else to take over the house, which of course the police are mad at me for some reason. Doesn't make any sense, but that part's not funny. But the funny part was he would sit against the wall all day, smoking on a bong and doing little sips of Everclear all day, right? And it was hysterical because, like, when he would move, and this is, I'm not making this up. When he would move, there was like a grease spot on the wall where his hair was, right? And I'm not shitting you. This really was like this. And so, anyways, finally it comes time to, Eric Feely's gone. He's out of the picture. And they're probably using the name Eric Feely to try to send me messages. Oh, wait, I gotta go before this. Wait, hold on, sorry. I'm gonna come back to this. Okay, wait. Before this event, and this is important because it has to do with the Kevin hates gay people tactic. Now remember, I told you about 8 years old kissing a black girl and how the world's told that I'm angry, raged, white supremacist, right? Based on thin air. There's nothing I did mean or wrong. I just kissed a black girl. That is my crime. Okay, same thing applies here. I'm a white supremacist. I hate Asians because Jen Yang broke up with my brother and I stopped my brother from bashing Greg Wall's skull in with a crowbar. I hate the black community. Oh, and she's Asian, so I hate all Asians. The black community, I kissed a black girl, so I hate the black community and every black person and every other race and culture, apparently. I also hate women because women like Corey Bixby ask me to drive them home, and I either farted wrong or my foot kind of sort of pushed like 1 millimeter too much on the gas pedal for a millisecond or something. So I hate all women too, right? I'm filled with anger and rage, and I need to be stopped before I hurt myself or someone else, right? Yeah, okay. But that's their argument based on thin air with the psychology community. Okay, so now, what they do is Eric and Matt have a gay guy come in. I don't remember the connection. I don't know where he came from. I think he came with Eric Feely, and I don't know. I have no clue. But I think Eric Feely brought him over, and I couldn't care less. And all I remember, once again, I wasn't really talking much to the guy. Really small apartment. We were all kind of on the couch and chilling, probably smoking some weed or something. I don't know. And it comes time to go to sleep. And I wasn't really flirting with the guy or talking to the guy much or anything, but apparently he liked me, which I have no problem with. So the gay guy, I go to sleep, it's late, although I'm not really that tired, because I'm kind of a nocturnal person, and the gay guy comes in and he says, "Can I sleep on your floor?" And I go, "Sure, whatever." Then he gets flirty, and he asks me what I'm thinking about, and so I don't know. I lay there for about 10 or 15 minutes, but I'm not really that tired. Doesn't really have to do with nervous issues, just I'm kind of a nocturnal cat, whatever. I'm not gay, so I'm not into him, and I have no problem with gay people, and I have no problem hanging out with gay people, provided they're open-minded, right? Because I found out I've dealt with a lot of gay people that are worse than the people that label the gay people, right? And so, and that also goes with the black community. I found out that a lot of black peoples, between the reverse racism and for some reason, it's not okay to be racist to black people, which I agree. There's a lot of black people that think that they can be reverse racist, as if they're like super special, like Adolf Hitler, right? Well, racism is racism. It doesn't matter what race you are. If you hate another race or culture or religion, then it's that racist, bigoted behavior, right? So I've met a lot of the people that have been labeled are actually worse than the racists because they're the reverse racists, right? Well, the same was going on with this gay person, right? Like all these people that I've never done anything wrong to, he comes in, and I'm just not into him, right? Okay, and I'm not the most sympathetic about it, because you're looking at a guy that's pretty much been single all his life and not by choice, right? I mean, my family basically didn't want me in any type of relationship with anyone, provided it couldn't be screened and controlled. And in the end, they tried to force Adriana Olivares on me, and when she showed the signs of an abusive person, I wasn't into her, and that was it. It was like, "You're dead, Kevin. We're all coming after you because you didn't take what we're going to force on you," and that is it, right? So I was never allowed to pick and choose what I wanted. I was never allowed to fool around. Granted, I will admit that I was always semi-introverted and not good. My big problem, which I stated in the past, which makes people mad for some reason, is that my one flaw is, like, I wasn't shy and introverted with all my male friends in high school, but when it came to women, I got a little nervous, which isn't a mental illness, and nothing you're going to remove someone from society for normally. And so I would clam up and like breaking the ice. Does that make sense? So like, and honestly, a lot of guys are like this, okay? I mean, there are a large percentage of men that can't just walk up to all the women and, what is it, like Rico Suave, right? Like, just talk them up and get them in bed and do this and say all the right things. There's a lot of guys that are more in the middle that are just like, hey, you know, I don't know how to approach her and what to say, and as you get older, you get better. But I was a little more, I would clam up and get nervous because I didn't know how to break the ice. And then once I get past that, it's like, okay, I can be myself and talk and whatever. And that was it, right? So for me, like in college or definitely high school, walking up to a girl and that I'd never talked to or knew and just start saying things to get to know them, I would just clam up, whatever. After 29 and the severe abuse, I got a lot better with that, but now I'm met with the inability to have a life because I have a worldwide campaign to put me in the ground, I found out. And you can't really have a life on any level with that. So anyways, but none of that has to do with mental illness or phobias or OCD or things like that. I mean, we're not talking like I look at a girl and I see germs on her face, right? Like, that would be OCD, right? You see germs and you throw her in the sink and start trying to wash her face or something freaky like that, right? That's the type of shit my family's spewing to the world. Okay, so anyways, I'm a little non-sensitive to the gay guy, but to be honest, that's usually how it is in college because people don't really sit there looking for all the sensitive ways to talk to someone they don't know, even if it's a boy-girl type of thing. Most chicks are like, hey, you want to fuck, blah, 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 what's wrong, blah, blah, I don't know, okay, he's not into me, I'm done, right? And so that's kind of how it normally is. So, you know, he just says, what are you thinking about? I don't know. I go out back where everyone's chilling on the couch, watching TV, and whatever. Hey, Kevin, you're back. Yeah, whatever. The guy asked me what I was thinking about. Now, maybe I had a little bit too big mouth, insensitive to the gay guy, but I figured, you know, he obviously came with Eric or something, right? I mean, so if the guy came over with Eric, then he must be friends with Eric or something, because why was he in my house, right? Anyways, one of those people, I think, took it a little like, oh my god, the guy's gay, but they didn't really, I don't know, maybe they didn't know he was gay. I mean, I have no clue, whatever. But, as far as I know, nothing was done to the gay guy. Now, maybe the gay guy felt alienated, but that's a normal type of situation, right? I mean, that can also be with a guy and a girl. Girl goes in your room, you're not interested in her. She comes out, everyone goes, oh, I don't like that girl, she's a slut or something stupid like that. And that's kind of how college kids are, right? Now me, I never really said anything bad about him, right? I never said, oh, he's gay. I mean, that's horrible. He needs to die or anything like that. I just went out and said, oh my god, you know, the guy is flirting with me, and I was a little nervous because I was inexperienced, right? It had nothing to do with me being mean to anyone, and I didn't do anything mean, right? That's the point. Like Corey Bixby, the guy didn't get his way. And then was told when he didn't get his way, or more importantly, like Adrian Olivares, when he didn't get his way, it's hunt down and kill Kevin Perlman, right? I mean, look at the pattern of behavior here. Corey Bixby wants me to drive her home. Maybe she wanted me to ask her out. Maybe when she didn't get her way, it was like, you're a dead man with the government. Just freaky situations, right? But never any communication in between, right? So while granted I might be slow and missing the opportune moments, that's not a crime where people are removed from society saying they hate women and they need to die, right? I mean, that happens every day of our lives from person to person. Okay, so now, what is this situation with the gay guy? He comes in my room, he flirts with me, I'm not interested. I go out, more so, a little nervous, and more so because I'm not really super tired and can't sleep anyways. It's a small apartment with a couple of college students that are half the time stoned, and maybe they made fun of the guy or something. I don't know. I can't tell you. But it's not the type of thing that the gay community now hunts you down worldwide. Now, to put things in perspective, at one point, let me try to think how many years later this is. At one point, my brother wants me to visit him in Florida. In Davie, Florida. So I must have been around 27. And Jen Pilchick, his wife, my sister-in-law, makes some comment about gay people, and I think it's called Lincoln Street. Now, remember that, I don't know if I talked about Mike Huntley and Lincoln Street in LA and Santa Monica, where he put our office close to, and wanting to buy a 1966 Lincoln Continental to hint about the 300E Mercedes that my father put the bullet hole in the car, pinning on me to try to send me hidden messages about hate, rage, and supposedly trying to kill or scare my father, which never happened, and it was my father with the LAPD doing these frame job operations. Hence Mike Huntley, the Lincoln Continentals, Lincoln Street, hinting about JFK and things like this, trying to coerce me into coerce false confessions. So Jen Pilchick says, watch out for all the gay guys on Lincoln Street. I think it's Lincoln Street. By Fort Lauderdale, I think. Or no, by South Beach. Right? Lincoln, I can't remember. It's been so long since I've been out there. It's like a big mall street where everyone hangs out, especially on weekends. Kind of like 4th Street Promenade or whatever out here in Santa Monica. Or is it 3rd Street Promenade? I don't know. So right after she tells me this is the little paranoia part they do. Right after she tells me this, I go down. My father had a little house on South Beach, a little like condo in like a skyrise in South Beach, which was kind of cool. If I wasn't dealing with all this in my life back then, I probably would have maybe been more social and hung out there more and things like that. Actually, this might have been after 29, around 33 or 34 or something. I'm not sure. Needless to say, going to Lincoln Street Mall or whatever it's called, I'm walking down Lincoln Street and a gay guy comes running out of a bar, starts flirting with me, where do you live, let's go to your place. I am completely not fazed by it. I am completely not offended by it. I am completely friendly and a little flirty and nice to the guy, and I tell him, look, I'm not gay. If you were a chick, totally, I have nothing against you asking me. You're not older. Remember, now I'm more like 33 or 34 as opposed to early 20s, right? and less inexperienced, or less experienced. So whatever. And I handle myself very friendly, and I tell him I'm not gay, and I make sure he's not upset about it. I let him grab onto me and hold me or whatever, showing I'm not homophobic, and that's that. Now, why were they doing that? Well, because they wanted to prove to the world that I hate gay people, right? But remember, all these things that I do right aren't documented and put in this worldwide laundry list to use against me in the thousands and thousands, right? So whenever I pass their tests, which is almost every time, they either leave that out or they make up the cover-up lie. Oh, he met a gay guy and he tried to beat the shit out of him or something, right? Okay, so now we have two gay guys that I have done nothing to. The first one I'm a little more insensitive because of less experience, but still didn't do anything mean to, right? And I can recall, I think maybe it was Matt saying something negative. Oh, he's gay, I don't like gay people. I don't know. You know, my own father does that too. He walks around the house calling gay people fagulas and whatever. I can't tell you if he would have it in it to actually beat one up or anything, but he jokes around with negative connotations about gay people, which I clearly don't do. You get the idea, but nobody's mad at him, right? Okay. So, okay, so you get the idea. Now, because they didn't get what they wanted, like usual, they needed to tell the world, I'm a racist, bigoted, white supremacist who hates gay people, hates women, hates every race and culture, and filled with anger and rage and this and that, yet the actual behavior I'm exerting is the friendliest motherfucker known to man, especially after finding out Mike Huntley is trying to kill me with worldwide campaigns and not be able to comprehend what's going on. Which leads into a bunch of coffee shop and gay employees and gay people coming in trying to hunt me down to exterminate me. Okay? Because I didn't do anything wrong. So, this is where things don't make sense. You have gay people coming in your life to try to prove that you have gay people, that you hate gay people, and they fail, and more gay people come after you. You have black people, you prove and show that you show complete affection or lust or warmth, and they're saying you hate black people. And same with Asians, and same with Persians, and same with every single culture or living being on this planet, making the same argument from thin air. Now, how does the world know me? Won't tell me. How is this information going out, this propaganda going out worldwide in secret? You're imagining it, right? Doesn't make any sense, and the types of people that do things like this are murderers. They have calculated, premeditated motive to destroy someone's life, try to rid them of the world, and in this case, mob them to death until they're dead and gone, with claims that they're this and that, and even if it were to be true, it still doesn't give them the justification or right. And there actually are people that hate gay people or can't understand gay people or hate women, and there's a lot of gay people that hate women for that matter. There are people that hate blacks, people that hate Asians, people that make kind of half-ass racial or bigoted statements like my father saying fagula, and people kind of laugh it off, whatever. Even a lot of times the gay people laugh it off. Just like when Tom Farley was around me, he would always say, he'd use the term Jew. I'm Jewish, and Tom Farley would say, oh, you know, this guy tried to lower the price on me and Jew me, right? Well, I couldn't give a shit that Tom Farley said that, and I'm Jewish, right? Showing that I'm the one who is grounded because I have no insecurity about it, right? where was I? Okay, so back to the gay guy. So I think that's it. That is all that happened with the gay guy, right? I think it's been so long. I think Eric Feely at one point said to me, "Oh, I saw that gay guy at a party," or something like this. It's something negative, right? Okay, so, you know, good for you, whatever. I didn't really hang out with Eric Feely too much. I wasn't really in his frat crowd or anything. That's it. Okay, so now, I hate gay people. Now I'm labeled I hate gay people. Right? And people are coming on IRC, and they're saying, "Kevin, you want to hear a joke?" And I'm like, "Sure. Why did..." Oh God, I can't remember the jokes. There were two racial jokes about Smurfs. And it's actually, they try to guilt me with movies, and one of those movies, I think is called Donnie Darko or whatever. But, God, what do you call a gay Smurf? A fag or something? I don't know. It's something like that. What do you call a gay Smurf? A fag? And there was like something maybe about a black person or something. I don't know. I mean, it's so long ago. Who would give a fuck? People tell me nasty jokes all day. Comedians tell me nasty jokes. I regurgitated the joke once to someone on IRC. Someone told it to me first. That's it. Okay, after that, they're kind of like, we have our proof to disseminate to the world that this guy is a horrible, mean, racist, bigoted person, asshole that needs to die. Now remember, someone who is an asshole or racist, their behavior is based on a pattern of behavior that is consistent, right? Example, if you are manic or you suffer from depression, that is different than if you broke up with a girl and you were sad for a month, right? Because everyone exerts human emotion. Now, if I tell a really mean gay joke like I did once, one joke, in 46 years, I told one mean gay joke from someone that told it to me on IRC. One, ever. Okay? I didn't walk around the entire planet telling gay joke after gay jokes and saying gay people need to die. And you see that guy, he's gay, kill him, and this and that. That is someone who is, what's the word? Homophobic. Right? But someone who their entire life shows compassion, empathy, warmth, but makes one little hiccup, imperfection, which I was about to say a mistake, but it really isn't a mistake, because that is how human personality works. Nobody tells you that you have to be a perfect person or you're going to be hunted and killed by a planet full of people. They tell you that you're human and you fuck up from time to time, and it's not really a big deal unless you're exerting just horrific behaviors, right? Which is what they're telling people about me, but it's all fiction and fantasy. None of it exists. So my point is that when you're talking about the life of Kevin Perlman, you're talking about a life that has to be perfect. If you blink your eye wrong, you're hunted by billions of government dollars and worldwide support. Do you understand what I'm saying? And nobody would normally tell you that. Okay, so that's it. I have no interesting, dramatic story about this gay guy, like laser guns came out and we had sword fights defying gravity or anything like this. Okay, the situation, the amount of drama, the amount the amount of drama you can squeeze out of that situation is like trying to squeeze Gatorade out of a rock, it just can't happen, right? There's nothing there like all the other situations. Okay, so now the government steps in with this Grateful Dead hippie dude, right, which I started to talk about. But obviously the government was already stepping in because that was the setup attempt, right, or the frame job. The message they were delivering to all the people in the state of Colorado, which, trust me when I say this information at the time was being delivered statewide and citywide before the internet, was that a gay guy came into Kevin Perlman's house, and Kevin Perlman gay bashed him, and Kevin hates gay people. That's the message that's being delivered at the time to Colorado, University of Colorado, saying I have anger issues and rage issues, to all across the state. So if anyone sees Kevin, be on the alert, because this guy is crazy and he's on the edge, he's filled with rage, blah, 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 blah. Right? Complete bullshit on every level. That being said, they're setting the stage. Does that make sense? I moved to Colorado. We set the stage. Kevin hates gay people. Everyone, Kevin hates gay people. Everyone, hunt down and help us. Remove Kevin. Rabbit. Damn it. Almost hit a rabbit. Someone would have been happy. Okay, so someone would have been happy because they could use it against me, right? Okay, so a gay guy, and that's a rabbit, like a furry rabbit, not a car rabbit, not the shit my brother was doing to VWs and shit with Mike Huntley. Okay, so they're setting the stage. We got our falsified dirt on Kevin, turn everyone against Kevin. Now let's ramp up our attacks with the government, right? Okay, so now they send in the Grateful Dead hippie to move me out of my place. Where was I in the gay person? So I was talking about his hair. So he had the activator hair, like coming to America. All he would do, this guy was like just a stoned piece of human meat. He would smoke weed, sip on Everclear, didn't pay any rent except for a small down payment on the contract, and that was it. And after a few months of not paying rent, me and Matt got pissed, and we said, enough's enough. This guy is not paying rent, and we gotta tell the landlord. These are rented college places. I mean, these aren't. And eventually tell the police, but all the police said was, there's nothing we can do, which is true because he's protected. Whatever. There's certain laws for people that live in houses, and the way you can get rid of him. The guy knew the system, right? The guy knew how to work it. So, and the law states that you can't just throw someone out. There's a certain time period, right? So if someone's renting your place, you can't say you gotta leave. You gotta say you have to leave within like 2 or 3 months or something like that, right? I don't know the exact time frame. I'm not into real estate or renting properties. So he was just milking it, right? He moves and he milks it. Then he moves. Well, okay. So then I think I go back for like spring break or something. And when I come back a week later, he's moved into my room and kicked me out of my room. Now, there was all this weirdness with Matt, I remember, and his friends telling me things like, we tried to pick the lock with a knife, and we called the cops, and this and that. But I think the reason he was talking all weird like that was to hint about knives, because I told you about the steak knife incident, and Eric Christensen at University or Southern Oregon State trying to get those coerced false confessions from my brother running around every week, saying I tried to kill him and I tried to kill him for driving fast with him in my car, and every lie known to man to rid me of the world, just crying wolf. And so they were working all these angles on me that I wasn't really picking up on. Eventually we kind of got together and we researched whatever we could do to get rid of this guy, but there's nothing we could really do, and he wouldn't leave. I think at one point Matt told me he locked him out of the place, but the guy managed to get back in through the window or something like this. Now that I'm looking back, I think it was all bullshit. I think he was just doing what's always been done to me to pure pressure me to try to get me to do something to him, like has always been done. Like, for example, I talked about Alexander Cohen and how they tried to pure pressure me into pissing and shitting in her car, or tried to use me as the patsy or setup person to go after her, which failed. Then in the end, pinning it all on me that I got rid of Alexander Cohen or something, right? When the only good guy is the guy being hunted and punished. Hold on, I gotta do a U-turn here, so you can see a certain pattern of behavior. They're trying to set me up to get me to do something to the gay guy. There was a point, I think, where Matt or something said he hit him with his bike tire or something, but I saw him and he looked fine. I don't know what he was talking about. Just like Jen Hess saying I hit her with a mask on, although she didn't tell me I hit her with a mask on. She said someone hit her with a mask on, came over the next day, no bruises, and then people worldwide are running around saying that I hit Jen Hess. The same tactic was used on the guy, this Grateful Dead guy, right? Supposedly I hit him with a bike wheel or something, I don't know, or I don't know if Matt was trying to speak metaphorically, but all I know is I saw him and I didn't see no bruises on him either, right? And either way, come 29 or a little later, going to the police about Rody Morales sent after me by the police. The police were hinting about my house in Colorado because, like usual, we kept calling the cops on this guy because he was extremely aggressive, right? Like, or passive aggressive. For example, I come back from spring break and he moves into my room and throws all my shit out of my room. So we call the cops. And the cops come down and go, well, there's nothing we can do about it, which is true. Because he's protected by those real estate or those property laws, and he knew this when he was squatting and signed that agreement. But more importantly, he was working with the government. Okay, so the question that you need to ask, which I was asking at around 33 or 34, watching worldwide groups kill me with Mike Huntley's death threats, and going to the police about Rody Morales and Mike Huntley and watching these mass groups kill me, was why were the police hinting about Colorado? This is back in California. Why were the police hinting about Colorado and the guy they sent in my house as if I did something to the guy who they sent in my house, right? Once again, turning situations around on me on their setup operations. Okay? But remember, these are California police, and how the fuck do they know about Colorado? Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? And they're using it as leverage. Like, oh, we're going to investigate you and we're watching you because of Colorado. And I'm thinking, wait, they're going to investigate me and follow me because they sent some guy in my place to squat, and in the end, I had to move out. So he actually won, right? So what's the crime? There is no crime, right? Guy came in, he nuked the system, he kicked me out of my house. He didn't pay any rent or apartment, whatever, rent an apartment. He didn't pay any rent. And the cops are mad at me 30 years later saying, you know what you did, we're going to rid you of the world. But like usual, there's no specifics, just you know what you did or you did something and you're a dead man. So that is all I can think of. Some dude that was told by the government to take over my property and kick me out. Okay, but now this is the key. Right at this point, talking to my mother, she just happens to know someone, her friend named Noah Schiller, and Deborah just happens to have a son, Noah Schiller, living in Boulder, Colorado, going to Boulder. How convenient, right? You know, if someone wants to spy on someone or get information or keep tabs, what a great way to do it, right? Now, keep in mind that every roommate I've ever had was told to keep tabs on me. Example, first roommate in Southern Oregon State College was contacted, told to work on me with the police and my family and keep tabs on everything I do and act as my jailer. Same with moving back to California, my roommate, Jeff Siegel, which I went to University of Colorado with. Then it was Tom Barley who was told to move in with me. Me thinking all these people were trustworthy people, turned out they had ulterior motives. Okay, so let me think. Okay, so then I move in with Noah Schiller because I don't know that my family are psychotic lunatics. And I'm not going to get into all the setup operations or setup attempts that Noah was involved in or with his girlfriend right now because I'll be talking forever, and I'll get back to that when I get back to this point on the timeline. But I wanted to talk about this Colorado incident and now come back to 29 years old to the present, which seems to be similar to, once again, my mother trying to figure out how to get me to move up to Canada with her. So once again, and really I don't think that's the overall motive, because these things start at 5 years old, and the amount of me going from this incident to that incident shows that these are just terror incidences that just drive someone crazy, right? But still, there's a certain pattern of repetitious behavior from the types of things that are done to me over and over. So for example, oh, and are you all proud of me? I'm driving in like heavy rain, talking to you with a light on, and I can do all this despite the fact that Sean Dinsey and my family says I have driving problems. And they're probably telling you I'm masturbating right now in the car too. Whatever, because that's some of the types of lies they spew to the world too. I'm masturbating in coffee shops. I'm masturbating in my car. I'm masturbating in bathrooms. I'm masturbating on dates. Whatever, they'll say anything. All bullshit. But they say what they need to say. Okay, so you get to see firsthand that I can drive. My hands are even off the steering wheel, right? You can see that I'm not some moronic idiot that can't drive, who thinks differently than the world, and is crazy and a danger to society. Anyways, I totally got sidetracked, but you can see that here. Okay, so, and I love the rain, by the way, and for some reason in my family, it's a crime to say I like dark, cloudy weather or the rain, applying it to this or that or the other thing, jumping from reality to fictitious theories and analysis. But anyways, so to me this is cool weather. And actually, one of the reasons I like the dreary weather and rain is because it's like fireplace weather and you can like curl up in front of a fireplace and things like this. But whatever. And then if you have a chick, it's even better, right? But anyways, they turn it into some crazy insanity like everything else. Okay, so we come 29. I'm starting to find out all these things are going on. Rody Morales, without getting into the details, I'll get into all this later, with the LAPD, is sent after me, take me to strip clubs. Absolutely nothing happens except Kevin's being hunted and killed by mass groups, like usual. I find out something's very wrong, which was what they planned to do since 5 years old, was to try to flip me into a state of paranoia and say Kevin snapped and he's crazy. With Rody Morales trying to get his coerced false murder confessions. Remember, their confession attempts go from person to person to thing, which doesn't make any sense. I supposedly killed people. I'm supposedly a gay basher. I hate every race and culture. I supposedly run like 100,000 people over with my car. I'm hypnotizing and brainwashing people with my wonderful art. Yeah, okay, sure. My art is also supposedly confessions to murders and crimes I'm going to commit. Yeah, okay, sure. You name it, right? Here we have me finding out that something's very wrong. We got Rody Morales wants his murder confession. Bentley, the stripper at Fuller Place, says I'll get mine. I'm noticing worldwide people in an angry rage want me dead. My mother on the phone says my past caught up with me, hinting that I need to leave the country. Well, why does she want me to leave the country? What's the relevance or significance? I don't know. It's hard to really know without anyone telling you. They're just sort of planting seeds to manipulate, right? Well, is it because she's hinting that I supposedly made Alexandra Cohen leave the country? Yeah, bullshit. I explained that in some of the earlier segments of the Alexandra Cohen, my father's girlfriend when I was like 16, French girlfriend, how my brother was supposedly doing and his friends were doing all these things and pinning it on me, but more so my father just wanted to make up lies about me, hence saying that later on Alexandra moved back to France. But why, even if I did run Alexandra out of my father's house, why would she have to move to France, right? Is he saying that Kevin Perlman has NSA, FBI, and billions of dollars of resources to stalk Alexandra out of the country? I don't think so, right? Okay, I'll get into those situations later. So now my mother's planting the seed that I need to leave the country and telling me my past caught up. But remember, as I explained before, won't say anything specific, right? Now, why? Well, most likely because she's using her psychology because she feels alone with Arnold out in Vancouver, Canada, right? So now, if Kevin were to be on the run and leave the country, where would he go? Well, common sense would dictate that I'd probably choose Canada because I have a mother and father in Canada, right? Or stepfather, Arnold Schiller in Canada, right? Okay, I mean, what a great way to do the same thing they did to me in Colorado, once again in California, like put me on a chessboard to move me to Vancouver, right? I want my son by me, and I'm going to do it by force. He has no say in the matter, right? So, they do all the sabotaging and destroy my name and reputation in life, and then say, okay, Kevin, well, you come up here, we'll take care of you because your life's fucked there, and you did this to yourself, right? You understand what I'm saying? And so, that is a pattern of behavior, and now, that hasn't stopped in 17 years of mass worldwide attacks to try to torture me and kill me. And after my father fired me for some reason, or because he didn't like my website and realized that I wasn't going to back down and I wasn't going to quit without him firing me and things like this, which is how you're supposed to do it. If you want someone to leave your office, you're not supposed to torture them and kill them and hunt them down all around the world. You're supposed to say, look, it's not working out, you're fired. And that's how that whole communication thing works. Look, it's not. And if my father would have fired me within the first, 6 months, year of working at his office, I would not have lost respect for him. But he tried to torture and kill me to get rid of me, telling me to leave the country and shit like that, and destroy my name and reputation worldwide. And that alone in his office went on all day and night, 24/7 for 14 years. And that's a murderer, okay? People don't try to torture and kill someone all day and night until they're dead and then go, well, it's your fault for not trying to run away from me while I kill you, while you're trying to run away from me, right? Okay, so hence he really showed his true colors when he fired me, because he didn't fire me in a normal way. It was all him trying to cover up things that he was doing and pin on me. So anyways, I don't want to get into that, but you can understand that for 17 years now, worldwide groups trying to rid me of the world. How convenient. Now we have our arrests, our convictions, or we're going to lock you away forever, we're going to put you in mental institutions. Well, hey, you can come up here with us, right? Now, at the same time, while I feel a little bad, Arnold Schiller supposedly is having some heart problems and heart valve problems. My mother's anxiety is probably through the roof. She's probably thinking, he's in the process of getting heart valve surgery, which supposedly has a very high successful rate, but I'm sure her anxiety is kind of like, what do I do if I'm all alone right here in Vancouver? Although she does have a U.S. citizenship. I see that pattern emerging with a lawyer throwing in the towel or intentionally getting convictions, telling me I'm going to be incarcerated for life. We got the appeals he refuses to submit the paperwork for my appeals. Why? Doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. Everyone's being paid off by my family who spy on me. For example, at 29, running out of gas on PCH, I get a call from my stepfather, Arnold Silver, in Canada. And the end of the conversation is, just don't run out of gas, letting me know that they're watching me with worldwide surveillance, right? You get the idea. And now here it is at the end, we're going to rid you of the world no matter what, with little hints, you better go on the run, your mother could be all alone, yada yada yada. And it seems very similar to the I'm going to migrate you out of each place, right? I graduate Calabasas High, I go to Southern Oregon State College. Kelly Hatch is sent to migrate me out of Southern Oregon State College to somewhere else, even though I didn't know it at the time. I'm then in Colorado. My family, sabotages meeting people and roommates on my own, and then migrates me with Noah Schiller to keep tabs on me and try to set me up and frame me, all in the name of control, or remove me from society. I moved back to California. Rody Morales says, let's go to strip clubs. And they do all these endless frame jobs to make it look like I'm stalking strippers. I'm supposedly a fraud trying to meet women in strip clubs and in my studio photography, with them leaving out all the things I did, like all my photo shoots and the complexity behind the photo shoots of studio photography that, like, normally these photographers do a model shoot and it's like a done deal and they send them the images. My green screen photo shoots, one image can take between 30 to 100 hours, showing that it's about the photography and not about the girl, right? And then it switches to and then all the adult websites and the adult database website systems I built for the adult industry, they pretend doesn't exist, and I'm just trying to meet women after Rody takes me to strip clubs, right? You get the idea. Frame job after frame job after frame job after frame job after frame job. The cops are hunting me down. My mother's saying, your past caught up with you. My father's saying, I know what I did. My mother's hinting I need to leave the country with her psychological manipulations. My father, after he fires me, says, call your mother for some reason, or in front of Kareen Eshigan, he keeps saying, call your mother for some reason, which doesn't make any sense to me why she's so important in the equation. Also, the weirdness about how me or Mike stole Alexander Cohn's Clearly Canadian, my mother lives in Canada, like some kind of hinting schizo message to try to manipulate me to go to Canada from a drink or something. I mean, just the freakiness, right? And I got into the Clearly Canadian thing in some earlier segments with Alexander Cohen, how my father and Alexander were irate that me or Mike Huntley could have drank in one of her drinks out of the refrigerator. Is like, what the fuck? And of course the name was Clearly Canadian, almost like you were meant to be by your mother, right? Some weird shit like that. Like seeing if he could manipulate me with subliminal messages or something. I don't know. And then then cover it up by saying I'm a schizophrenic. The point is, in this conversation, the topic, or the point that I'm trying to make is these migratory things to control have always been going on for my family to strategically put me where they can control me or want me close. Example, moving back from Colorado, or remember I told you I was manipulated to move back from Colorado, with Mike Huntley calling me up or coming down to visit me saying he wanted to start a 6-year company with me, my mother calling me up telling me that I could finish the classes from California and send the credits, and my father calling me up saying I could stay in his house for a year with the Janet Nordet frame jobs, all as a manipulation to get me back to California, right? Then Mike Huntley starting the company with me, and my father manipulating me into his office building by saying his Shelley, who he was dating at the time, company had moved out. We can have this office space for a insanely great price, which was too good to be true, on Ventura Boulevard, to manipulate me into the same work building with him while he worked on me with his entire office, right? All these manipulations to move me where they want me or keep people watching me as control levers to dictate my life, right? And then, like as I mentioned you in other segments, have people come in my life to do things to teach me lessons. Example, Brody comes in my life, let's go to strip clubs and associate with strippers and porn stars as I'm building adult websites. Same with Tim Thompson, pretending he wanted to do adult websites, which I was already doing, to sort of spank me, right? Hey Kevin, let's do adult websites. Oh, you're doing adult websites? Now I'm going to destroy your life. Now I spanked you, right? You are now punished for doing what we don't approve of, but we're first going to say let's do it to see if you do it, and then punish you as if you commit a crime, all by keeping me close to my family while destroying my life, right? Now remember that these punishments go from 8 years old kissing a black girl, liking Asian girls, smoking weed a couple of times, you name it, destroying my name worldwide and mass worldwide murder operations, all in the name of like, oh hey, you smoked weed a few times in college, so we have worldwide operations to remove you from society, as if you're like the President of the United States times 100, right? I mean, just pure insanity, right? Well, nobody's like that. No family's like that. But the next question you have to ask, which really makes things weird, and yeah, you know, my stepfather Arnold does have a shitload of money, but still not this kind of money, right? I mean, we are talking government NSA systems and billions of government dollars, and I don't see how you walk up to the government of the United States and you say, you know, I think our son's out of control, so will you help us with NSA control him? The government's going to be like, what the fuck, how did you even get in here, right? I don't give a shit if you're Arnold Silver in Canada and you might have some friends who know some people. You're still not going to walk into NSA saying, hey, control my son, right? So it's a lot more stealth than that. It's got to be more like we have our psychology degrees and our son's a danger to society and we need you to watch him, or we need you to remove him from society at around 5 years old. Okay, forgot to plug in my camera, so the battery died. So anyways, where was I? I was saying that, you know, that's where things really get weird, is all these freaky things are going on, like I'm going to migrate here, I'm going to migrate you there, now you committed all these crimes, people are following around all day and night with 100,000 to 1 million attacks per day worldwide, which doesn't make any sense, and, you know, it's hard for me to believe that all these people just want what's best for me to live with my mother up in Canada. Seems a little strange. That's an awful lot of resources to get someone, to migrate someone to Canada, which is a very big theme of theirs, especially sending Kelly Hatch with her Jeep Cherokee after me to move me, to migrate me into the ground and kill me with police and NSA and FBI. So, you know, what's the... While you're looking at these endless situations, one sequentially after the next, to create endless anxiety, drama, pain, aggravation, torture. What is it really about? Well, the bigger picture is really about, I think, just the government saying, we don't trust this guy and we don't want him to exist. It's that simple. Pre-crime, right? You know, like my joking shirt, right? It's kind of like, how can we remove this guy from society, starting at 5 years old, just like Adolf Hitler did to the inferior race, as he called it. The same thing that's being done in the United States of America, which most people don't realize is going on. And when these worldwide groups are coming after Kevin Perlman, they're being brainwashed and told it's about this or that. Well, what's it really about? Because why would an entire half a planet exert this much energy into one man so that he can live with his mother? It doesn't make any sense, right? Plus, whenever I went up to Canada, I was attacked by all the cities in Canada too. So what would that change anyways, right? Unless they're saying, we'll stop once you go up and do what we tell you, but that's a terrorist act, right? And I don't negotiate with terrorists. So if my fate is being locked away for the crime of not doing what I'm told to do, which the Constitution tells me I don't have to and I shouldn't have to, and the police and government are supposed to protect me in these situations, normally, then that is my fate, which will suck, but my life is already pretty shitty anyways. But you get the idea. Anyways, you get the idea that it's like all the other things. It seems pretty kind of too simple with the billions of dollars, government dollars exerted to move someone by their mother, right? But that tactic of migrating me out of each and every place, now that tactic has been going on my entire life. Why? I don't know. We had like Navid when I didn't even get into Navid. Navid is around Hidden Hills, around, let's say 12 or 13, I'm not sure. And Navid was the Persian neighbor that lived one house above me, which I think before him was a girl named Raya Kleinpeter. Actually, Raya Kleinpeter was after Navid, a redhead that Paul Humphrey claims kicked him in the balls, which I doubt is true. Which I have stories about my sociology class and Mike Huntley about that. But that's back in 16, or 12 to 16, whatever. But around 12 years old, I'm not going deep into Navid, but Navid was the first. My neighbor above me wanted to throw rocks in Darren Moselle's pool to create splashes to set me up, to make it look like I hated Darren Moselle, right? Anyways, I'm going to get into that later. To try to make it look like I'm a troubled kid, and move me out of Hidden Hills. The things with Mr. Quigley trying to get me to punch students, to move me into a juvenile hall, or make me look like a violent paranoid schizo. Go to Southern Oregon State College. Kelly Hatch sent after me to follow me from Calabasas High to Southern Oregon State to make it look like I'm stalking her and move me out of Oregon. All the people in Oregon, like Eric Feely, Matt, Noah Schiller, all the other things I'll get to later on. It happened at University of Colorado. The teachers contacted, like Nick, the photography teacher, Jim Johnson, my computer imaging teacher, the art department writing teacher, trying to make me look crazy or hypersensitive. You name it, I will talk about all those things later on. The point I wanted to... Oh, and then coming back to California, and you have to leave the country, right? So here's a kid, every single place he's ever lived, he has to leave for no reason at all. He's accused of every crime known to man for no reason at all, and then you got to leave the country. Although probably if I left the country, because I've had endless communication with people worldwide through my programming, like thousands and thousands of programmers in India, Russia, Philippines, Germany, frickin' Zimbabwe, I don't know, Australia, all knew me and were taking turns in anger and rage. So you couldn't move out of the country. And anyways, and so what's the motive, right? And so if I moved to Canada, what would change anyways? Nothing. I would just be by my mother with people trying to kill me, right? And she would just lie to my face like you're imagining it. Okay, so what is it really about? Well, it seems to be about extermination. That's what it seems to be about. They create these smoke screens to make it look like one thing, but it's really about something else, right? Creating like enough anxiety to kill a field of cows, and saying you have a problem with anxiety isn't about helping anxiety, and people following you around in the billions, sending you reference messages to try to turn you into a schizophrenic isn't to help schizophrenics, right? They're all pretty much self-fulfilling prophecies if that's what you thought you were doing. But this isn't one crazy lunatic. This is a mass worldwide conspiracy. It's not about anything like addiction, because this is really about creating addiction and inflicting pain and things like that. So, what is it about? Well, it all seems to stem from extermination. We don't trust you. We don't know who you are. You seem different to us because you think for yourself, and we don't like people that think for themselves in such a way that we think in the future maybe could expose something illegal that the government's doing. Hence what I stumbled upon at 29. But you get the idea, right? This is a very complex situation. I'm sure someone could walk up to me and explain it in such a way that it made sense if they wanted to, or at least closer to make sense if they wanted to. But I have a feeling the truth is so disturbing, up on par with what I've just told you, which is it's pretty much an extermination operation. Kind of like putting a dog down, right? You get that dog and it bites someone and it's a nasty dog, and they put the dog down, and my theory is kind of like now remember, one of their labels is that I'm full of anger and rage and I'm a violent paranoid schizo, which isn't true, but my guess is that because they think they saw this side of me from like in 4th or 3rd grade, biting that guy's hand, which I explain is a very soft, non-damaging bite, like dumbing someone on a hand, 0 damage. They labeled me like a dog and decided they wanted to kill me like a dog. Hence the references like the movie Jupiter Ascending, how he tore someone's throat out, right? Trying to create apple and orange situations. Kevin gummed someone's hand and there was absolutely no pain or hurt or damage is somehow equivalent to biting someone's hand off, just like tapping my foot around Aubrey Fisher launched 6 years of worldwide murder operations on that one thing alone, not to mention what Aubrey Fisher did with the millions of modelmayhem.com users when they got into studio photography trying to have me killed, which sparked billions of people in the entertainment industry working on me to have me killed, all because what? I tapped my foot by her. Doesn't really, or is on the same level of gumming someone's hand. Once again, we're back to this makes no sense, but you know, that's what it is, and it is what it is. I was born, they wanted me dead, this is happening, it's pretty much unexplainable, and that is it. And the more I found out, and the more I started talking to people, the more they wanted me dead, because they didn't want that can of worms opened up to the mass crime spree of destroying what's now 46 years of a man's life based on government paranoia and psychotic behaviors with a paranoid psychotic family, right? Now, obviously, like I stated before, to sum this all up, is that now we're coming back to things like constitutional protections, because even if this starts from my family and they're paranoid psychotics, why would the government help paranoid psychotics hunt down and kill someone? Right? That's the point. Right? You got some crazy family with psychology degrees, and I think my son's this or that, and the government says, okay, we're gonna do these things to this person. The person finds out, and then they say, okay, well, you better not say anything or we'll kill you, and you weren't supposed to find out, right? It's too late. They already committed the crime. You can't give me back my 46 years that they stole from me, right? Okay, so, but they don't want the truth coming out, because how does the government look, right? Just like Edward Snowden coming forward and exposing what's really going on in our government, they don't want that coming out. They don't want it coming to light. So, what that means is we're talking about constitutional violations. Hey, if a family can walk up to the government and go, we think our son's crazy, and do all these things, that bypasses your constitutional protections. Where do you draw the line? Anyone can say anything. Remember that. A girl can say a guy raped her. This guy can say she stole my car. This person, without an investigation, facts, logic, convictions, it's all pointless, right? That's the entire reasoning behind the Constitution of the United States of America, is to keep us safe, so that we're not back in Germany in 1940, right? Now here we are, it's 2018. This is my life. I'm 46 years old. I was born in 1972. In 1972 or 1977, same time around the movie Wizards, or Shaggy DA, or whatever, the shit hits the fan on Kevin Perlman's life with psychological labels that the government says we're taking away his constitutional rights, way before the Patriot Act, by the way, and FISA, and we're going to rid this guy of the world for no reason. Some harmless 5-year-old kid. I mean, was fire coming out of my mouth with red eyes? Is there something I'm missing here? Right? Did I build an atomic bomb and blow up 100,000 people in a football stadium at 5 years old? I can't tell you, because obviously I didn't. So it must be the opposite end of the spectrum. I didn't breastfeed correctly. I left the dinner table without permission. I blinked my eyes wrong. I farted wrong. I smoked some weed in college, whatever, several times, but not like my stoner roommates. And I need to be hunted and killed for that. Makes no sense. But anyways, so at this point, it's obviously about what I know and talking. And I will leave it at there. I think this is about probably an hour and a half. It's not too long like the others. But that was kind of some important factual data about my life that they're trying to turn around on me and make it look like I'm the bad seed and have done all these horrible things. And so the whole thing about me homophobic or hating black people or white supremacists is actually the opposite end of the spectrum of who I am, and that's all for control reasons. We don't want you dating anyone out of the Jewish community, right? So in order to do that, we tell everyone you're a white supremacist, but we want to keep you close to us and give you who we want to give you, right? But then you have the underlying factor of the worldwide murder operations, which all comes down to what allegiance do all these random strangers all across the planet have with my family. Well, you could say they believe the lies and propaganda, which is normal, but the problem I have with that is there's no middle ground. Example. Let's say a cop pulls over a black guy, and I think it was like the town of Ferguson, it happens all the time, whatever. Cop pulls over a black guy, shoots him for no reason, right? Now normally you have split opinion, right? You have people saying, I think the guy did something to the cop, and you have groups of people saying, those cops are racist. Well, in Kevin Perlman's life, there's no people coming forward directly anyways in a direct sentence, or very rarely saying this is atrocious, this cannot happen again, this is unacceptable, I can't believe that people are believing the bullshit they keep changing on a weekly basis, right? You get where I'm coming from? So anyways, I think I'll leave it like that. That's it. And the next topic I think I'm probably going to talk about is what was it? The next topic. Oh, that's right. I think the next topic I'm probably going to talk about is the psychology behind these operations and the danger to themselves or others leverage tactic within my family, the psychology community. So for example, a big leverage play with the psychology community is to say Kevin's a danger to himself or others, because that's really the only way a psychologist can remove someone from society, that's the only thing that allows a psychologist to go to the police. Remember, my family all have psychology degrees, is to say, I think this person is a danger to himself or others, and someone or himself is in immediate danger. Hence, psychologists working with police with these falsified claims, as well as my family with using their psychology degrees as weapons, right? So that is a very big topic, and I think that is what I'm probably going to talk about on my next segment. So anyways, till then.